We are going to venture into a notion just perplexed philosophers, psychologists, and thinkers alike for centuries. A notion which many before us have pondered upon, and many shall after us. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to mull over the question, does free thinking exist? Are we, the actions and decisions we make, are they a result solely of our own individuality? Or are we acting just how the world around us intends us to? Are we merely a gear in the clockwork, or a piece of puzzle made exactly to fit the picture? Are we as humans really a free species, or do we merely live under the illusion of freedom? Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, I'm not a part of the matrix, I do whatever I want. Well, just look at yourself right now, the way you all are sitting. Some of you are slouched, some of you are laid back, and some of you are sitting upright. Now notice, how many of you immediately changed your posture as soon as I pointed it out? I didn't ask you to change it, neither did I speak against it. The mere fact that I mentioned it was enough for you to change the way you sit. Now think, we live in a world where we are exposed to the internet 24/7. And during this period, we consume tons and tons of such similar influencing content. Now, if you think you still aren't influenced enough, let me give an example of how the world works. Okay, so imagine, you are sitting on a dining table, a round dining table with your friends. Naturally, there will be napkins on the table, and the napkins are only one per person. There will be one on your left and one on your right. Now, which one would you pick up? Well, if you are well versed in table etiquettes, you might go for the one on the left. But let's say that you aren't. The left one or the right one? In reality, the correct answer is determined by the person who picks up first. If the first person to pick up the napkin picks up the one on the right, everyone else on the table is obliged to pick up the one on the right as well. This wasn't peer pressure, and neither was it force. A decision was made, but it just wasn't our choice. Similarly, in our society, we are forced to follow and do many things like a sheep in a herd or birds in a flock. Like a sheep in a herd or birds in a flock. This translates to our daily lives like the food we eat or the music we listen to, all influenced by the pop culture around us. Because of this, our thought process becomes something like, oh, I want to have this dish because I saw it on the internet. I want to listen to this band because millions of people do. Or I want to hate this particular country or person because the media tells me to. This is how we as humans are programmed to think something which we weren't supposed to in the first place. Because it is pretty hard to influence a person as an individual, but as easy to do it as a group of people. Be it biased news channels or blatant internet propagandas pushing ideologies, we are exposed to them no matter what. And because of this constant exposure, that viewpoint is finally cemented into our tiny little brains. Now, I'm pretty sure by now everyone is well versed with how these outside sources can affect us. But how do we stop this? How do we stop these outside influences, and how do we be 100% original? Well, the answer is you can't actually be 100% original, because then you would also have to quit learning. But what we can do is strive to be more true to ourselves and be a bit more original. And there are several ways a person can do this. The first one is introspection, meaning you need to examine yourself mentally first. If you examine your own thoughts and actions, you will get a good idea of your impact on others and also yourself, because who knows yourself better than you? Second would be looking at both sides of the story. Usually in conflicts, we hear one side saying how they are the oppressed and the others are the oppressors, while the other side says the exact same thing. In situations like these, what we need to do is take a step back and take a look at the equation properly. And let our individuality step in. Because when this happens, then and only then can we make our own. So these methods won't only help us to be more original, but also will help us prevent blind faith and blind following, which is very prevalent in our society today. So, in a nutshell, free thinking is something which is very limited in these days, but all we can do to acquire it is just be ourselves. This is something what we can do as an individual. But as people, all we have to do is spread awareness and hope that the future generations, decades and centuries after us are liberated enough to ask the same question: does free thinking exist? That is all. Thank you.